always tell patients, like the light switch in the room, that
Hmm.
determines whether you sit in the dark or whether you sit in the light. So genetics can be turned on and can be turned off. And genetics is the gun, but lifestyle is a trigger that pulls it.
Hey, hey, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Girl, Get Your Groove Back. I am your host, Coach Jamila, root cause wellness coach, guiding women to sustainable health and alignment. I'm so excited today because we're focusing on a topic that impacts both your health and your confidence, your gut and your hair. My guest is Dr. Sonza Curtis, a functional medicine practitioner who helps people heal from the inside out while also restoring their hair naturally. Today, we're going to uncover the connection between gut health, hormones, and hair loss, just to name a few, and what you, my friend, can do about it. Let's get into it. Hey, hey, y'all. It is Coach Jamila, and welcome to Girl, Get Your Groove Back. I am super excited to have Dr. Sonza Curtis with us today. She is a functional medicine practitioner, and she is going to tell us all the things. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you, and I'm honored to have you on today's episode.
Oh, it is an honor to be here with you, Coach Jamila. So thank you for you and your audience.
Yes. Well, the first thing I want to know, and I think it will be good for our audience to know, is tell us a little bit about what got you into this health space.
Interesting, it was my calling, and I didn't answer the calling until years later. My grandmother was an herbalist and a midwife, and I grew up and we were detoxing before detoxing was AKA sexy. And cod liver oil, we were taking that when I was a young girl. And so I started off because my grandmother she was fine until she got what we call our insurance to this day was Medicare, and she had thyroid eye disease. At the time, we didn't know she had an autoimmune disorder. And I remember going to her bedside and taking her boxes of medicines, and they just couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. So then I decided I'm going to try to figure this out. So I started
Mm.
off as med tech, and then life happened and dropped out of school. And about a decade so later, I went back to school, started in nursing, and then decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. Then went to
Right.
PA school, and after 10 years of practicing as a PA, I just got tired of giving a pill for every ill. So then I went back to school and went back for naturopathic. And after that, I went into functional medicine. And then it was there when I was like, so this is what my grandmother was talking about. So I was able to put science behind some of their AKA remedies and, folk healing and different things of that nature. So I just feel like God just took me on a circle and took me right back around. And I wish I would have learned more then.
Yeah.
Really would have paid more attention to then. So that's how I really got into it. And then my own health issues. My dad died at age 50 with a massive heart attack. My mother had multiple myeloma. I had high blood pressure. Both of my kids have autoimmune disorders. So it was kind of a quest from the past, the present, and helping my children to have a better future.
I love that. And I know that's right. Sometimes we have to dig in on our own. I like what you said. You were tired of giving a
Oh,
pill
for
for the
every
ill,
ill,
for
for every
every
ill.
ill, because that's what it is. Most Western medicine doctors, not all, but that's what they'll do. It's like, take this pill. It's just sabotaging the real root of what's happening. So I love that. And it's also interesting how there's those seeds that are planted throughout our life. And we look back like, okay, I see what you were doing
Hmm.
to get me to where I am today. So that is awesome. I was looking through your website and I was like, wow, so many amazing things that you're doing. Specifically, you also really focus on gut health, hair restoration. What do you think about genetics in hair restoration? Do you feel like there is a connection or is it deeper than that?
Well, I think genetics plays one of the arm because we can't
Mhm.
throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I think that's what happens in medicine and even sometimes in functional medicine. We get so hyper focused on one thing that we don't step back and look at the whole picture. Genetics is, that's That's the material you're working with. What you decide to make with it, whether you want to make a coat or whether you want to make a dress, whatever, but the genetics is what we have, and that's what we have to work with. And understanding the genetics gives us another insight to how we should approach the situation. But then other times people get so hung up on genetics. And I always tell patients, like the light switch in the room, that
Mm-hmm.
determines whether you sit in the dark or whether you sit in the light. So genetics can be turned on and can be turned off. And genetics is a gun, but lifestyle is a trigger that pulls it. So, like I said, do you have genetics? Yeah, it plays a part, but then lifestyle is really key. And that's what I really focus on, lifestyle. Like, how do you navigate through your genetics? We couldn't pick whether we wanted to be male, female, black, white, purple, pink. We can pick that out. But what we do, we learn to survive and do those things that make us who we are now.
Mm. So I like that lifestyle can almost bring out things that are sitting dormant or can create a positive environment so that the genetics per se don't play a part negatively. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct. I mean, everybody remember the craze where everybody had went out and they got positive for the BRCA gene and all of the breast cancer gene, and everybody in the celebrity was getting double mastectomies just because they had the gene. But there's people that have breast cancer that never had the gene. So if that was the key, that genetics was everything, then if I don't have the gene, I shouldn't get breast cancer. But that's not the
Mm-hmm.
key.
Right.
Drinking alcohol has more implicity of having risk factors for breast cancer, just as well as having the genetic predisposition for it. So,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about even like how can nutrition and gut health specifically really help with hair restoration, for example?
well, hold on, that's a loaded question, Jamila.
Okay.
Okay, so because let me get situated right here. Okay, like girl, we gonna get down to business because what do we do every day? We do this every day, right? If you don't, we're gonna die. Like eating is what we do to survive. But I think the quality of food has gone down. Genetically modified foods. I'm a lot older. I've lived through the Wonder Bread Inception and all the little Debbie's, Big Debbie's, whatever kind of the Twinkies and the Ho-Hos and all that, the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And food has changed as the years have gone by and what we put in our food. So a lot of times people think, well, I'm eating healthy, but it's still the food has changed. So we really
Mhm.
just have to look at what is in our food, because
Yes.
how do we get our recommended daily allowance of nutrients? We get that by what we eat if we're not taking
Yeah.
supplements. So if we're not eating healthy, then we can't get it. And then if your gut isn't assimilating and breaking it down and absorbing and taking it and making it available so it can get to the rest of part of your body, you can be eating as healthy as you want. But if your gut is in balance, and that's what we call leaky gut, and people don't understand, it's like, how is it can be leaky? When we have these cells in our gut and our microbiome in the small intestines, and they're called enterocytes. So they kind of look like my hand. So the top part is the
Mhm.
microvilli, the bottom part is the factory, and that's how they get to the food, and then it pushes it down into the bloodstream. Well, if you have digestive issues and you're not breaking the food down in your stomach before it gets to the small intestines, by the time it gets there, it's not in its best form, so the small intestines doesn't have a lot to work with. You can't get the
Mhm.
nutrients, and what does our hair need? Our hair needs nutrients. Our hair needs zinc. We need
Mhm.
iron. We need vitamin B. We need D. We need all these nutrients that we're getting from our food, and
Yeah.
we can't get it to our hair because our hair is the farthest part of the body, and just like the hands.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the oxygen to get there and you don't have the nutrients and the transportation to get there, then that area starts to die. And that's what happens in pregnancy. That's what happened during COVID because you're
Mm.
using all the nutrients. The baby's taking the nutrients. So your hair doesn't get it. I mean, your scalp
Yeah.
doesn't get it. So,
Right. That's why my hair was looking crazy when I was pregnant.
yes, ma'am. That's
I
when
was
it's the most.
It's coming out. It was looking real dry, Lord. But that's okay. The baby's got the nutrients. That's good. That's good. So, when it comes to gut health, then, Do you have maybe 1 or 2 actions that people, maybe the audience could take? Maybe they have leaky gut. Maybe they're not getting the nutrients like they need to because they're having a gut issue or their microbiome is off. What would you recommend to help? Maybe 1 or 2 actions with that.
Eating probiotic foods. You don't even if you don't wanna take probiotics, you can have, yogurt, eating just different, probiotic, fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, those things are good to help with gut health. And I think the biggest thing that we negate in 2025, we don't chew our food. We're supposed
Mm.
to chew. If we break down, God gave us teeth for a reason. So we
Yeah.
chew, chew, swallow. We should be chewing 20 to 40 times before you even swallow. So
Mhm.
therefore your gut doesn't have to work as hard to try to digest it because you're breaking it down as much as you can. We
Yeah.
don't drink enough. The mucosal layer of the gut. We don't drink enough water. The solution to pollution is dilution. So if we want to get rid of all the crap in our body, we got to drink the water. And one of the ways that things get out is urine and poop through the gut. So we have to have enough hydration so we can move those things that are not supposed to be in our body out. Otherwise, it gets trapped in and we start to recirculate those toxins through our GI tract. Sometimes hormones get more concentrated, toxins get more concentrated, and
Mhm.
it's just amazing. We just don't drink enough. So
Uh,
those are just a couple of things that you can do. And eat. I always say if you eat from a bag in a box, you're going to end up in a bag in a box. Okay.
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
eat
Okay.
wholesome food. Just eat
Yeah.
food.
Eat wholesome food. That reminds me, I used to say, Jamila, chew for 20 seconds. Chew for 20 seconds. And I would chew and I'm like, oh, this is liquidy. Like I'm ready to swallow. But to your point, it is important, like you said, because it breaks down so much easier when you're chewing all of your food. I had a client and she said, Jamila, I eat lunch in 7 minutes. I'm like, girl, stop it. You're not processing that food right. Stop eating so fast, which I think a lot of us in our community, in society, we're eating so fast. Everything is so rushed. And that's probably why a part of the reason a lot of people are having gut issues to this
And
day.
weight issues, because it takes about 10 minutes, for your brain to kinda figure like you're full. So by the time you've shoved all that
Mm,
food down, you're like, you've overeaten at that point, and by the time the signal gets there, you're like, "Oh, I'm so stuffed." But
yep.
if you had just eaten slowly and mindful eating, what are we
Yeah.
doing? As we eat, watching TV as we eat, we really should eat and really savor the food that we're chewing. Think
Yeah.
about the textures of the food. Think of looking at the color of our plate. Is it colorful? If it's all brown and white, that's not good. You want the color of the rainbow on your plate.
And even, as a reminder, shop the outside aisles, all the beautiful produce with all the different vegetables and herbs. I always encourage people to do that as well. So I love that. What would you say are some of the most common gut issues that you've come across?
Reflux.
Mm,
Reflux and PPIs, Protonics and Prevacid. I think that's maybe one of the top prescribed medications.
yeah. Wow.
Because we're just all have reflux. But the interesting fact in that is people think we have too much gastric acid or, it's too much acid in our stomach. But Jamila, truly, the honest truth is most of us, we don't have enough. Okay. And
Mhm.
so we don't have enough to break the food down. By the time we're 20, we start to lose our production of hydrochloric acid. So the food just kind of sits in our stomach and it rots away,
Mm,
right? So that's why a lot of times we have to take digestive enzymes. If you don't want to take the digestive enzymes, pineapple and papaya, sometimes you can eat those with the meal. Everybody does, apple cider vinegar, and they'll add some of that to it. But I always tell my patients, and I've done this before, if you can tell, but you ever go
yeah.
into Publix and you buy that or the grocery store and you buy those fruit that's in those domes and you happen to push it in the refrigerator or it stays in there a couple of days and you forget about it and then when you get ready to take it out you have to be careful because otherwise it'll blow up. Because why? The bacteria in there is now fermenting and that fermenting is off gassing and that's what is will make
Okay.
it will make it pop open. That's the same thing that's going on in your gut. So when you feel it coming up or feel it going down, that's that gas. And some people can be what we call auto fermenters, where they can actually ferment in their gut. And sometimes it can actually be almost alcohol content. They call them auto fermenters.
Interesting. Okay, so I've never heard it broken down like that. Because people, like you said, are thinking this is just the additional acids coming up from the stomach. So, with that being said, people who have that fermentation in their gut, what are some things that they can do to prevent that or maybe reduce those symptoms?
One thing is real simple, is interesting. I did a podcast earlier and I talked about even in the morning, just getting your liver and your gut kind of cleaned out is drinking warm lemon water in the morning, first thing in the morning.
Mhm.
That kind of gets things moving, get your gallbladder moving because what happens, we not only do we need betaine HCl that's in our gut, we need ox bile that's in the gallbladder and the liver. And then we
Mhm.
need pancreatic enzyme that's in your pancreas. So you need all those to kind of run like a relay. And if it's delayed, that's what kind of helps it stay there. So
Yeah.
just drinking warm water, chewing your food, not eating 2 hours before you go to bed. Try
Yeah.
not to eat a lot of greasy foods. And if you have sleep apnea, then you need to get that treated because you're just bringing that food back up. A lot of times
Yeah.
people will drink apple cider vinegar. You can do that. Or you can just take some digestive enzymes. But you have
Mhm.
to be careful with various different digestive enzymes because if you
Yeah.
have an ulcer or a history of an ulcer, the digestive enzymes can make things worse. So you want to seek help before you start just taking various different types of digestive enzymes over the counter.
Okay. Well, I feel pretty good because I drink lemon water every morning.
Okay.
Hooty hoo. That's good. And it's interesting. I remember I was on a flight and an Asian lady, she asked for a cup of hot water. And I remember looking, I was like, is she going to get a tea bag or anything? And she didn't. I should have asked her, but she just drank a cup of hot water. And I did some research, like, that's interesting. A lot of people in the Asian community, they drink hot or warm water. That's it every morning. And I think there's a point to that, obviously, for gut health, digestion, and all the things. Have you heard anything about that? Like the hot water in the morning
Yeah, it's
type
the
of,
same thing. Yeah, you can put ginger, you can put lemon. The lemon just help with the acid to kind of break things down. But yeah,
yeah,
that's the same
yeah,
concept. Yeah, it just gets
yeah,
the body moving. And we
yeah,
really shouldn't be drinking ice cold water anyway, because our body's 98.6 degrees. But
yeah,
I haven't got that one yet. I love my cold water. I love my cold drinks. So
yeah. I hear you on that because I've been working on like, okay, let me do room temperature water. But if I'm hot and I've worked out, I really want some ice in it. I just want a little bit of ice.
I
So,
know. But now
okay.
we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, we would do a lot of
Yes.
things right. So we can just there may take a little bit more time. It's okay.
That's right. Day by day, day by day.
And
So
that
I'm
brings up a
able.
good point because the thing of it is, Jamila, we always try to listen to a podcast. We listen to this on a podcast. You hear
Yeah.
this person says that, you read this, and now Dr. Chat GPT will tell you what to do. And you try to do all that in one swoop. And if you try to do it all in one swoop, you
Yeah.
will fail. We are
Yeah.
human beings and we
That's
can do it
true.
for a minute, but you have to find what accommodates your lifestyle. And that's what sets functional medicine apart. We sit down with you, we factor in what you're going through, we factor in that you have kids that are soccer and they're doing all this stuff. And so we try to help and we reach out to like people like Coach Jamila to kind of, I need you to help this person, help them where they're
Mhm.
at to get to where they want to
Ah,
be.
that's it. That's it. Progress, not perfection, is the
Hmm.
key.
I
Yeah.
like that.
It's more realistic because we'll overwhelm ourselves trying to do all the things, and then we're mad because we failed. So, I'm here with you on that for sure. I am curious, do you have any examples of clients that you have helped with gut health, for example, who have seen really positive results in terms of hair restoration?
Quite a bit. So, one of the stories that really hit home for me was probably about 7 years ago, which really got me into hair restoration altogether. Young lady came in, beautiful woman of color, and looked like she had a whole lot of hair to me. She had her hair up in a bonnet. And when she took her hair down, she had Lincoln planipilaris, which was an autoimmune disorder. And
Mhm.
if you go to my Instagram, you can see that if you stroll through there, you'll see her testimony as well. But she was literally bald here, all in
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
She had scabs. It was just awful.
Yeah.
And she, as she took her scarf off, she was just bawling in tears. They wanted to give her all this medication. She had not had a child yet at all. She wasn't even married. She was a school teacher. And she just looked at me and she says, I need help. And I said, I don't even know if I can help you, to be quite honest with you. And I said,
Yeah.
but what I do know gut health, and I know gut has a lot to do with it. And she looked at me and she says, looked at me like, Dr. Curtis, you crazy. What's gut got to do with it? And I said, honey, that's
Yeah.
everything. That's where we
That's
get our
it.
nutrients. That's where inflammation starts. But if we want to end, that's where inflammation ends. So
Yeah.
we took her off gluten, dairy, added sugar. I put her on my 30-day gut reset program where she took some digestive enzymes, some probiotics, and some gut healing powder. And we did some lab work and we fixed all of her issues that was wrong. She had low vitamin D, vitamin B was deficiency. She had some iron deficiencies. So we fixed all her deficiencies. And then we gave her some topical things to put on her hair. And even though they said once you do minoxidil, you can never come off of it. Well, I'm here to tell you she's been off of it 4 years now.
Mm.
And more than that, about 5 years. And her hair is fuller than mine right now. And when you
Wow.
look at her, I was just like, wow. When she called me 6 months in, she says, I think my hair is coming back. I said, girl, yeah, right.
Mm.
I thought she was going crazy, right? I said, yeah, right. When she came back in, me and her both. So I'm as real as you come. So I told her I can do what I can do, but I did not expect the recovery of hair loss that she had, where she just you can't even tell she had any. And she had her
Wow.
body so prepared that she had a baby. She wasn't even trying. So she had her first child.
Mm.
And
Mm.
she was born on my birthday. So that's my birthday
Oh.
twin. So that was just really special. And even to the point that she changed her whole career. And she will graduate May with as a nutritionist because she saw how food as medicine was an impact in her life.
I love that. Food is medicine, and I read somewhere that food can also be poison.
Yes.
So that is powerful. And I just started to understand, I really started digging into gut health. Your gut is your second brain.
Yes.
And I would hear that in school and when I was doing my certifications, like, what does that mean? Your gut is your second brain. But it makes complete sense. Like you said, everything that we eat, we put into our body, it impacts us in every way. So that's powerful. I bet you were just like, both of y'all were probably like overwhelmed with joy and excitement to see the power of food when she made those shifts.
Yeah, and then she was a wellness blogger at the time, and she was just blogging, and I had people calling me from Sydney, Australia, from India, all over the world that they were willing to travel. Actually, I was working with patients that was working with a guy that does hair restoration in New York. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, he had adapted one of my treatment protocols. And I'm like, oh, first he told her like, oh, that's crazy. So I did all my research, did everything else. And she's, like I said, she's doing well. And because of her, I've had more and more people come in. And that's why I focus because, I'm not going to guarantee you that your hair is going to grow back because it's multifactorial for
Yeah.
each individual, but you can get your body back in play
Yeah.
and be very healthy. We just had another young lady. And that's the other thing though. I want to stop right here and say a lot of our healthcare products for African Americans are so toxic. First it was the perm, and that was causing female issues, which is on the rise in our community. PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, all of the things. And then we went from there for a protective style to the braids. So the
Mm.
braids actually have, when you use synthetic braids, it's nothing but chemical,
Mm.
Crylion, and they take it, if you watch how they make it, it's a chemical that they take and they take a brush and they bring it up. It's like tar and they
Mhm.
make it into these fine strands, which is hair. We take
Yeah.
that hair and what do? Even I don't care if you soak it, you wash it with apple cider vinegar, it's still chemical. We take it and we put it on our scalp, and where does it go? Blood vessels. Now it gets into the system, and now
Yeah.
again, it's causing the same issues, cancer, and different things of that nature. I have
Mm.
my patients use this app. It's called Yuka, Yuka, I think it is, or Think Dirty, and you scan your products. It will tell you how toxic that product is. If you can't eat it, why put it on your skin or your face?
Mm. You better talk about that because we all, well, not all, but most women of color are in the braids in the summertime. My daughter just asked, she was like, I want to get braids. I was like, nope, you're not doing braids. We're going to do your natural hair. She's like, why? I want to get braids so bad. Well, we're not doing that synthetic hair because of
But there is an alternative.
there
There's
are.
yeah,
Tell us about it.
you got Rebundle. So now they've come out that they're making hair from uh, banana fiber. So Rebundle is one, Nori is another one. Um, Kind Hair is another one, but they're now coming out with all different types. I like Nori because Nori also is infused with different vitamins and it kind of feels like good synthetic hair. It actually has a little slick shine to it. And then if you go on their website, they can actually tell you how much you need. And I mean, it's an investment. I won't say it's expensive. It's an investment, but you can use that bundle like 2 or 3 times, and then you can get the umbrator, and I don't get paid for this, okay, guys? I don't I don't get but you can get the umbrator, and you can umbraid it, and then you can wash it and reuse it at least about 3 times. So, there is an
Okay.
alternative, and it's more and more coming out every day. I can't keep up with them, but
Yeah.
Rebundle, Nori, and Kind are the 3 on the top of my list, and I don't care if they said that it's pre-washed or whatever, you still need to look at the ingredients. If it's coniculon or synthetic hair, don't put it on your baby's hair. And
Yeah.
then you wonder why when she has PMS really bad and cramps and all of that, you are messing with her endocrine system, and you're messing with her reproductive system.
Oh my goodness. That's a whole podcast right there because that's really big. I'm writing this down right now. Nori, because I was thinking it was just human hair that I would have to invest in for her to get braids. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that. So I'll look into that. This is great information
Well,
because
thank you.
yes, we need to protect ourselves. But I feel like so many people just don't know. It's lack of knowledge. And we've been putting braids in our hair. I mean, I remember since the 90s, in 80s, just the cute little nice braids. So this is really good to know that we have alternatives, but it's also good to have the education to know that it can really mess up the reproductive system. So y'all pay attention. So I'd love to talk a little bit about hormones as well. How have hormones played a role in overall women's health, gut health, even hair restoration? Do you feel like there's a connection at all with
Oh,
that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the hormones, I call
Woo!
them. Well, hair loss goes up. Well, there's male pattern baldness that is associated with your hormones, and
Yeah.
that's PCOS. Sometimes people have, with PCOS, they have higher concentration of testosterone. So
Mhm.
therefore, more testosterone is going to lead to hair loss. And then we also check for DHT. So that's more the androgen type of hair loss. And when you go through menopause, because of the sudden drop in, estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, you can see hair loss there as well. Like I said, during pregnancy, you can see hair loss. COVID, we saw hair loss. So hormone really plays a big role because it fluctuates, and that people say, "Well, I got my hormones and they're normal." Well, we don't just look at your hormones. We look at what's the ratio between estrogen and progesterone. Because if you're having a lot of female issues, like I had a young lady came in, and she was Caucasian. Her estrogen was through the roof. Her
Yeah.
progesterone was on the floor. Well, she didn't have that balance. You have the estrogen is the gas, progesterone is the brakes. It's that calming.
Yeah.
And so we had to bring her estrogens down because again, that's causes a lot of issues. So hormone imbalances is key. And where do we metabolize that? We metabolize the estrabolones in the gut. The gut is like the center. So you have gut, brain, brain, gut, gut, uterine, uterine, gut. A lot of times people, when they have their period, what happens? They have constipation or diarrhea. Not the period, they don't have anything. So
Yeah.
it's all connected there. And 75 to 85% of our neurotransmitters are stored in the gut. So your
Mhm.
epinephrine, your dopamine, the one that makes you feel good. So if your gut's off, everything else is going to be off. And they're in the process now of making psychobiotics. So
Mhm.
probiotics that can target different psychiatric disorders like anxiety, different things. I've had people, we've cleaned up their gut, anxiety goes away. Clean up their gut and their hormones. Because that's another thing. If you're taking hormones and you're not pooping every day, you're recirculating those hormones through the GI and it's going to get stronger and it can set you up for breast cancer and different things of that nature. So if you're not pooping, I don't even start you on hormones. We got to get you pooping, then we can add the hormones. So it's not just a one
Mhm.
size fit all. You really have to figure out what's going on with an
Yeah.
individual.
Yes. This is so good. You mentioned ratios. Is there a specific ratio that you're looking for between hormones?
Usually look at progesterone to estrogen. I like a 1 to 100 progesterone to estrogen. If it's, some people like a tighter, but usually 100, 1 to 100. And then recent studies have shown now if you start treating in perimenopause, then you have less uh, decline in brain issues like Alzheimer's, dementia, cardiovascular. There's a direct correlation between hormones and cardiovascular health. And a lot of people get freaked out because of the Woman Initiative study that they did years ago, but they did that study based on what? Premarin. Premarin was what? Came from horse urine. Look at you and a horse.
Mhm.
Okay. A
Right.
horse weighs hundreds of pounds, right? Versus a woman that may weigh 150 to 200 pounds, right? An average size.
Yeah.
The Premarin was too strong and they didn't counterbalance that with progesterone. That was just all estrogen. So when you look at the flaws of the study and they're doing the different studies now, it's really
Yeah.
showing you that estrogen is a protectant because most women postmenopausal, that's when they have more cardiac events, heart attacks and strokes because estrogen was a protectant.
Okay. And so the best thing nutrition wise, obviously, is whole foods. What would you recommend to help with hormone balance? If we're not, say, they're not going to the bathroom, they can't get on hormone replacement therapy yet. What are some recommendations you would advise on the nutrition end to help with that?
Eating carnivorous vegetables, not eating meats that are treated with hormones. That's
Mm.
one big thing because everybody loves a wing. But where do
Yeah.
they put the hormones? That's where they inject. They inject the hormones. So you want to be hormone-free meat, drinking out of plastic bottles. So we call those are estrogen disruptors. So
Yeah.
you want to stay away from those. I have patients start with it's called the seed. Have you heard the seed cycle diet?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have them do the seed cycle diet, and that is the first part of the cycle. You do flax seeds and pumpkin. Flax helps the estrogen and pumpkin helps the progesterone. The second part of the cycle, you do sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. And
Mhm.
the sesame seeds helps the estrogen and the sunflower seeds help the progesterone. And you take a tablespoon of each daily and
Mm.
that helps balances out the hormones naturally. Making sure you get a good night's sleep. I mean, sleep, I think we sleep on sleep. We think, and we think we can do everything in 5 hours, but we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a day because our
Yeah.
body needs to heal.
Yes. And
So,
that's from my understanding when the liver is also doing the magic of metabolizing a lot of the hormones as well.
correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
That's when all the magic happens, and I don't care and if you work circadian, I mean, if you and then you need the circadian rhythm because if you work night shift, then you really don't get into that healing. Yeah, you do get that reparative sleep, but if you're not getting into the healing like you would, what the way God has intended us when the sun goes down and the light goes out, that's totally different. And when stop looking at your cell phone, TV, blue light stimulates your pineal gland, so that disrupts your sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to put, hormones on everything else. I'll never forget a funny little story I'll tell you real quick. One of my delivery people kept coming in, and when they came in, they were like, "Dr. Curtis, I need to come and see you. I need to come and see you." And so she says, "I'm having these hot flashes." And I said, "Okay, well, what are you doing?" She says, "Every night." And so somehow we got into talking, and she says, "Yeah, I got a M&M jar right beside my bed, and when I go to sleep, I get a handful of M&Ms." And I'm like, "Girl, that's caffeine. You're gonna have hot flashes. You add that caffeine, and then you add red wine. Those are things that we should stay away from. That's gonna make the hot flashes even worse during that time." So she came back about a couple weeks later, and she says, you were right. I stopped eating the M&Ms, and my hot
Right.
flashes went away."
Huh. Come
Who
on
would have
now.
who would have thunk? So, who would have thought? Food is medicine, right?
Food
Who
is
would have thought it?
medicine. Listen, I think I had my first hot flash. It was a different kind of heat. It was not like I can get a fan. It was internal. And I was like, oh, it's happening. Oh, Lord. So I'm here for all the education on how to reduce hot flashes. It's not bad. And I'm praying that I can continue to just be mindful of what I'm eating and my lifestyle so it doesn't get worse.
Yes,
Hello.
and you
Uh,
you can manage it, right? You
yes.
definitely can manage it, and then there's stress. So, but
Yeah.
it's again, it's little changes give you big results when you do them
Yeah.
consistently.
That's right. Absolutely. Do you have any movement recommendations for people also who may be struggling with hormone imbalances, gut health? Is there any type of physical activity that you would recommend to help with that?
Love the fact that you said movement, Coach Jamila, because a lot of people say exercise, and I think exercise hits everybody's brain different. Thinking you have
Mhm.
to go to the gym, and I said, "How much movement?" They said, "Oh, I don't go to the gym. I don't exercise," and I'm like, "I didn't throw any condemnation on you,
Yeah.
but I heard something that really." I've been in my movement piece now for about 5 months consistently. I'll just
Yeah.
be real. And what really struck me was 10,000 steps a day decreases your risk factor for Alzheimer's and dementia by 52%.
Mm, that's it.
I was like, sign me up.
Yes.
Okay. So guess what I've been doing 5 days a week?
Come on now.
10,000 steps.
10,000 steps.
10,000 steps. Sometimes I get some extras in.
That's
But
right.
because if anything that you can do to negate that I'm going to have, we're living longer these days. So I need to make sure that our brain is sharp. So
Yeah.
even that movement, that circulation helps with estrogen. It helps with stress. All of those things. It helps with the menopause symptoms. When I come to work, I do it before I come to work, and I see a difference. My family sees a difference.
Mhm.
It's like, who are you? Where did this woman come from? Because at that point, you're stress relief
Mhm.
and you got the circulations going on and you're sweating, you're getting the toxins out. I mean,
Mm,
so there's so many benefits from movement and find out what movement works for you. And walking may not be your cup of tea, but
yeah.
whatever it is, you like pickleball, do pickleball. But I
Yes.
will say this, be careful in menopause and perimenopausal
Mhm.
because too much exercise can be detrimental. Like Orange Theory, stuff like that, real hardcore is
Yeah.
not for menopausal women. Now,
Yeah.
if you were doing it, it's a whole different story. But I have so many stories where people say, I'm doing the same thing, eating the same food. When menopause came, I gained 20, 30 pounds.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
sometimes I have to tell them, back off your exercise. And they look at me like, what? Like, yeah.
Mhm.
And then they start to lose weight.
Yep. doing too much. Cortisol spiking crazily. And yeah, I've had that. A lady she was like, I'm going to hit 6 days a week and I'm not losing any weight. I'm like, pump the brakes on hit. And to your point, she's like, why would I do that? I'm exercising. This is what I need. Nope, you're doing too much, spiking that cortisol. And so that's such a good point. But I love walking. And a lot of people, podcasts, for example, are saying, like, we don't need to walk anymore. Stop walking. And I don't agree with that to a
Mm-mm.
point. They're saying, like, I do agree, like, go get strength training. Yes, that's wonderful, but you don't need to walk anymore. Walking's not really doing anything for you. And I'm just like, I don't believe that. To your point, it's reducing stress, it's getting the circulation moving. It's all kinds of amazing things. So I think that's a beautiful thing to do is walk.
Yeah.
If
And I
anything
think you
else.
do need to combine some strength training in there, but
Yeah.
you have to start, like, again, like I said, start with something that's you can do, right?
Yeah.
I was doing
Absolutely.
this every morning. I'm checking my emails, I'm checking my work stuff, right?
Yeah.
3 hours later, you know, you get sucked
Right.
into that and you're like, "I didn't exercise. What happened?" So now I don't even when I pick it up, I put it in my pocket, put my music on. That's how I pick up my phone nowadays. I don't pick it up
Yeah.
scrolling through there because you'll get sucked in the abyss. So, and then you still do your strength training. Yes, we do need to build muscle. We get aging sarcopenia. So we do need to do
Yeah.
the muscle strength, but I think it's still a balance. You still need cardiovascular because that helps circulation. If
Yep.
you're getting that circulation, where strength training is only going to work on the muscle. So you need a
Yeah.
combination,
Yeah. A good combination. I love it.
like
I
a
love it.
1-2 punch, like, knockout.
Yes.
Need a Muhammad Ali, you need a formula.
Okay. And to your point, starting first thing in the morning before you do anything else, obviously people find what works best for you, but that has worked for me also because you're right. You get sucked in and then you're like, oh, I need to go exercise and it's 10 o'clock at night and you don't feel like it. Well,
Or you
you're
can't
not
go to
going to.
sleep, exercise, and you're sitting up there like, "Why can't I
Right.
go to sleep?" Well, you just
Right.
exercise, you just walk 5 miles, and your body's supposed to just go.
Right. Exactly. You got to find the right rhythm.
And what works for you?
So,
That works for somebody. Doesn't work for
yes.
me.
Yes. I do want to ask you too, stress. You brought it up briefly. And I know that stress can cause all kinds of havoc in the system and our hormones. How would you say stress impacts gut health also, as well as perhaps an autoimmune where it's impacting your hair or you have alopecia? Does stress play a big role in that as well?
It does. Stress actually can be the biggest trigger for autoimmune, and that's what I tell people, that can throw you into a flare faster than food at any time because it gets the ball rolling and your immune system just gets going. And then in the stomach. Remember when you were kids? Like, I'm really telling my age here, but I remember
Mhm.
we go down south and we'd have to say our Easter speech, and you get up there, you couldn't even say anything. You get butterflies. As
Yeah.
adults, we just push past that or we try to over medicate past that, right? But our stomach is telling us, like, some people get so stressed they throw up. But your system, with that stress, it increases that cortisol. That cortisol
Mhm.
increases your insulin. Your insulin now increases, and now your blood sugar goes up, right?
Mm.
And then that causes all havoc. You get that fight or flight. So
Yeah.
a lot of times we think that the tiger's still chasing us. Well, that's hence we call it post-traumatic stress syndrome. We can do
Mm.
fine in the midst of it. That's why a woman can lift up a car off of a child. But it's afterwards that you still feel that that stress is coming after you, that's breaking down your immune system, breaking
Mm.
down your gut, your gut microbiome, and it's making it unhealthy. And
Yeah.
therefore, it makes it optimal for bacteria to overgrowth. It makes it an optimal plane for parasites to you know, to to kind of grow. And also, if you have too much insulin, now you can have candida, overgrowth of candida. So it triggers down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. For someone who wants to repair their hair, who wants to have better gut health, maybe what's one thing that they could do today to help in that area?
Change the way they're eating and just trying to eat, like I said, probiotic based foods or just get away from processed foods, not eating out so much, and find a good functional practitioner that is going to listen to you and it's really not going to treat your hair loss or your gut issues. It's going to treat you as an individual. What
Yeah.
works for somebody else doesn't work for another person. Your fingerprint is not the same. Your treatment is not the same. Now, I always start with gut health because I have to have a starting playing field. And
Yeah.
then after that, we get into the personalization. You may have vitamin D deficiency. This person may have heavy metal toxicity that may be keeping them from having their hair issues. So it's just really just listening to your body. I mean, I think we don't listen to our body.
Yeah.
If we eat something and you don't feel good, that's not good for you. So we
Yeah.
need to become attuned to our body. That's the first thing. And then find you a good practitioner and just really work with them. And it and I'll tell you what, it's an investment, but we as people and especially women of color will pay for our nails, we'll pay for our Coach purses, we'll pay for our red bottom tops, but
Yeah.
you only have one body.
Come on now.
You don't have a second chance.
Yeah.
And when I see people and if they don't abuse their body for years upon years, and then they want to come to me and say, hey, I want to get to the root cause. Well, the root cause was all that stuff you did in your 20s and your 30s. You've kind of damaged that,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Now we
Yeah.
can come and we can do some repair. Not going to say we
Mhm.
can't do any repair, but again, we're starting from a tattered piece of material that now
Yeah.
we have to make the best out of it. And we can do that, but we need to start teaching our young adults the importance of taking care of their body early.
Yes. This resonates with me so much. I always tell young people when I ever do speaking engagements like at the schools, take care of your body now and it will take care of you when you're older.
Mm.
Because they think, well, I'm 20, I'm, 30, I can live my life and do what I want to do. And it's not going to really catch up to me. I can change later. Stop doing that. I'm telling people all the time. So I'm so glad that you brought that up because it's so important. Take care of your body right now. Stop waiting
Yeah.
until your body is screaming for you to
Yes.
take care of it.
Stop! What are you
Yeah.
doing? Or you
Yeah.
have all these autoimmune things, but you didn't think about all that weed you were smoking, all that alcohol you were drinking, staying up all night, chasing this woman, doing all that, chasing that man. Your body keeps a score. And that
Oh,
brings up another thing, trauma. I think we all need a therapist, just like we
yeah.
need a hairdresser. And
Mm,
I was talking to a colleague of mine, and I think we're all stressed. If you're not
yeah.
stressed in this environment right now, you're lying to yourself. Okay.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
learn how to push it back, but it
Yeah,
manifested in other ways. So we really have to take inventory of what is going on in our body and how it's affecting us and do something about it. And bringing it up and having a good community and having a good network or having a therapist to kind of give you those tools so you can work through that. We can't
absolutely.
change what's going on right now. We can't change the color of our skin, can't change our sex, can't change what's going on right now in the administration, but we can change how we respond to what's going on.
So important. And I love too the network. Having a good network of people, having good community. I think people underestimate the power of that as well. So I love that you brought that up. What kind of labs would you recommend for people who are struggling with hair loss and even maybe their microbiome is off? Are there specific labs that you would recommend to the audience?
Hair loss, the biggest thing is looking at your hormones and your thyroid and your nutrients. So I do a complete thyroid panel. We look at your hormones and see if you're in perimenopausal or menopause. Best time to get those is day 19, 20, and 21. And that is
Mhm.
serum. And that's considered Western gold standard, but you also can do urine to see how you're metabolizing that. And you can get a Dutch test or a saliva test, and that's another way of testing it. and then you can get a micronutrient test. Because if you check your B12 and your serum B12, that basically tests how much is in your circulating, but how much you're being utilized is looking in the white blood cells. So we have different labs that we use for that. Some of these labs are covered by insurance, some of them are not. And also just looking at basic, basic stuff. Sometimes a woman going through menopause, her cholesterol may be up. I'm looking at some inflammatory markers, different things of that nature. Those are the biggest ones there. And then for gut, you can look at the amylase and lipase serum, but I like to do a good stool test, looking at overall at the microbiome. How healthy is the microbiome? Are you breaking down your fats? Are you breaking down your carbohydrates? Do you have an overgrowth of certain bacteria? Do you need more probiotic? Do you need some Akkermansia or different ones? Is there evidence of parasite activity going on in your gut? You'd be surprised that how many parasites that
Mhm.
we find, even for young. My 6-year-old grandson, we did a treatment for him, and he had parasites all in his stool, and he was grinding his teeth at night. And that again was one of my grandmother's like tall tales, like that baby got worms. So we didn't know it, but he
Mhm.
was, and so I treated him, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Um, but just
Okay.
looking at that, the gut microbiome, looking at toxicity, because, sometimes we all have heavy metals in our mouth, if we have amalgam fillings, if you have like implants anywhere. One of the biggest things I'm finding now, even in our community, is breast implants. A lot of people are having breast implant illness that are triggering autoimmune symptoms with their
Mm.
hair loss, and just it triggers everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes all these IUDs, if they're already having autoimmune, your body's already on going down the hill. So it takes everything that's with it. So sometimes people have to take their IUDs out,
Uh,
especially if they're copper and there's too much copper and they don't have enough zinc to balance that out. So now your nutrients are off, and that can make you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
right.
So yeah, so
Right.
those are the biggest things that I look at. Food sensitivities, that's huge. Like, what is causing my inflammation? Is it gluten? Is
Yeah.
it dairy?
Mm.
Because you gotta cut the inflammation. If if your house is on fire, you're not gonna go get your fire hose. You're gonna call 911, and they're gonna come with with a fire truck. So,
Yeah.
and then you can go back and assess and see what's going on. So it all, depends what, when people show up, the severity where I start. But generally I start in gut health with those
Yeah.
tests.
It sounds like it's very much a journey to uncover, but at the end of the day, getting to the root, like, like you said, is so important so that you don't have to keep coming back.
Yeah.
We're gonna resolve this and get down to it. So, where can people find you? We need to find you and talk to you. Where can we find you and all that good stuff?
Well, I have a brick and mortar in Roswell, Georgia. So it's right outside Metro Atlanta. And we're at 555 Sun Valley Drive, Suite C1, Roswell, Georgia. You also can find me on Instagram, and that's that is spelled out, D Wellness underscore Georgia. LinkedIn is Dr. Sonza Curtis. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. If you want to reach out and send us an email, it's contact at 3D Wellness. And the website is 3dwellness.com, and the 3 is spelled out. We also do 15-minute discovery calls for those people that are on the fence. And first of the year, we're actually going to go to packages. So it's a better investment, and you have some accountability. So now people come in, I don't see them for 3 months, then they come back, and then they're tore from the floor up, and we got to start all over again. So you need that
Yeah.
accountability, and you need to make sure that you're keeping up on your supplements, and that's what I tell people. Supplements are just for that, to supplement until we can get your gut optimized, and then we decrease that amount. And hopefully I have a patient right now. We're taking her off of her blood pressure medicine. So
Oh,
once your body responds, then we can decrease um our therapies, because we now you
yeah.
have the tools.
That's right. That's right. I'm loving it. I wish we had more time because I'm like, I have so many more questions I want to ask
We have
you.
to do a part two, okay?
We gotta do a part two. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I want to do some groove check question. I call it groove check questions. It's a little bit more personal. I tell people you have 15 seconds to respond, but that really never happens because it just depends on the question. So, is what it is. Groove check questions. So the first question I have for you, Dr. Curtis, is if your life had a theme song right now, what would it be?
Jill Scott, living your life like it's golden.
Okay. I like that one. I like Jill Scott. Okay. What's one food you can't live without guilt-free?
Mm, watermelon.
Ooh, watermelon with seeds or watermelon
Yes, watermelon with seeds with some tahini.
with some tahini. All right. Oh God, my kids are all into every tahini on everything. Okay. If you could travel anywhere tomorrow, where would you go?
Panama City.
Ooh. Okay. And then the last one I have, if your gut could talk, what do you think it would say to you today?
We're almost there.
All right. We're almost there. I love it. Thank you so much. And then my last final question, so this is just the closing question, is what's one tip that most people overlook when it comes to gut health and hair restoration?
Hmm. Oh, wow, that's a deep one. Hydration. I think that's it.
Ooh.
Hydration.
Hydration. That's simple.
Mhm.
Stay
We give our
hydrated.
wa we stay hydrated, keep your
Hmm.
hair moist, scalp hydrated, hydration.
Hydration. Hydrate, y'all. Make sure you're getting your water and try to drink room temperature or warm if you can, unless you're hot and you want a little bit of ice. Um, Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Curtis, for being on today's episode. I so appreciate it. I know so many people will be blessed by your wisdom. Y'all make sure you reach out to Dr. Curtis. I will make sure I leave the website. So until next time, peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Dr. Curtis, thank you so much for your wisdom and for sharing your heart today. I know our listeners are walking away with powerful insights to help them heal from the inside out, from their guts to their glow. One thing you said really stood out to me. I just got tired of giving a pill for every ill. That right there is such a powerful reminder that true healing comes from addressing the root cause and not just masking the symptoms. For everyone listening, be sure to check out Dr. Sonza Curtis and learn more about her work at 3dwellness.com. And remember, 3 is spelled out. And if you're ready to dig deeper and create a plan that supports your hormones, energy, and overall health, I'd love to guide you. Make sure you visit www.coachjamilaani.com. That's Coach JAMILAONI.com. There you can learn more about my coaching program and resources that are designed to help women just like you go from surviving to thriving and get your groove back for good, girl. And remember, beautiful people, your health and your confidence start from within. Nurture yourself, trust yourself, listen to your body, and take steps toward alignment one day and one choice at a time. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. I'll see you on the next episode. Coach Jamila out.